Hello. I think everybody was saying no sound. Let me go to this part right here. And can you hear me now? Verizon. What is up, everybody? Good morning. 5x5. What does that mean? Loud and clear. LOUD. Nope, that's not air. Thank you. Welcome to the show. It is Craig. My name is Craig. This is Facts with Fact the Madness. Getting ready to go on vacation in a couple of days. So I didn't even know if I was really going to do a show. Thanks for being here. I see Cliff is here. Nikki is here. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in my show for a long time, but thank you for coming. But I know you're always in the background in the spirit supporting, so thank you. Mitch is here. Brandon is here. Thank you. Good to see you guys. So I was looking to see where it said that I had reached 100,000 views, and I think it's on my backside, like when I go into analytics. And I mean, maybe we're like 300 away, but close enough, right? So I'm appreciative of the fact that some of you all have decided that you would watch that many times. Izzy in Second Summer. Oh, I know. I saw that. Now I'm going to take a look at. Is it Summer Ass or is it Summer? What can somebody put what it is that her name is so I can? I heard it today. I was just briefly listening to Fink when I was coming home from golfing. I did get in golfing today. Oh, I haven't. So let's see. Can I do it here? So right now is Nikki. Let's see who's mods. Old guy Mitch is not a mod. Cliff is a mod. So I'm going to retell the story. We're just going to digress just a little bit. So previously, at another time, or one time in band camp, I was involved with a number of people. Some of them are here and some of them are not. And I started doing some lives, and a couple people came, and I made a lot of them mods. Now, we all know what has happened of late, and some of those people are still here and some of them are not. And so I stripped basically all of my mods down to nothing. So I think I might have maybe 3. I can look on the backside while you guys aren't looking. Let me see if I can figure out how to get there. If I go to is it settings? Community? Yes. Okay. So right now I have Let's OTVO. I have Auding While Black, Rats to the Moon. In fact, she reached out to me previously. Said, it hasn't happened yet. Take me down, whatever. And I explained to her, I don't have any problems with you being there. So she comes sometimes, and she still has mod. So Brandon, if you'd like to be, let's see, of the people that are here, I don't mind you all being. I would love to have you as mods, and either of you guys can help and be there. That'd be great. So how about you put a 1 in the comments if you would not mind me making you a mod, and whether or not you guys say yes or not, maybe I just make an executive decision and just do it anyway. So let's see what we have here. I was using I Digress way before I ever heard it anywhere else, but I think somebody else used it. Let's see. How can I put, let's see, Brandon Mitchell. How do I make sure I'm putting the right name in? Because like right now, like you guys' pictures are on here, but it's not coming up with his name when I put, let's see, at Brandon. That's not doing it. All right, let me try this. I'm going to go to the live, put the sound. All right, now if I type in at Brandon, okay, he pops up there. So I'm going to copy that and see if I can get it to go here. Oh, there he is. Okay, I got it. So now he should have a, all right, Nikki, I don't mind, just need to do it as I am not always here. I understand. Okay, so I'm going to make Miss Nikki one. All right. Go back to there. I'm going to put at NICK. There you are right there. Copy that. Okay, we're going to make it all nice and pretty for everyone. Put her there. She, ooh. Now, why doesn't she show up now? Do I have it? NICKIE. I have that. All right, Nikki, I don't know why you're not showing up. Click the 3 dots next to their name. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. All right, let me take this out. See? All of you people who are much better. What do they say? You're only as good as the people you're surrounded by, and you should surround yourself with people who are much smarter than you. So that's what I'm doing now. All right, so Nikki, that's what I'll do. So, but the damn heart gets in the way. Oh, I'll go up to there. Put user in timeout, hi user, add as moderator. Standard moderator, save. Okay, got Nikki, and then old guy Mitch. What's a channel without old guy Mitch as a moderator? Not much, I tell you. We gotta have, and if I can get do the smell thing with Brandon. What is the smell thing? If you're in studio, remember to say, okay, all right. So I did it from the show, so I think it should be okay. Money 420. We're giving out wrenches. That's what we're doing. So yes, I mean we might be a little bit behind as far as the number of views. That it really wasn't even on my radar as far as milestones. I think it's still a good milestone, particularly when you have someone the likes of who saying, it's terrible, was nothing until whenever we were together, you didn't say anything, blah 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 blah. I mean, you've been doing it for quite a long time, and I'm just starting. So as far as YouTube years go, I think I'm learning at a reasonable pace, and you guys are keeping me honest. So thank you for that. Oh, so Mitch, I mean, not Mitch, but Cliff, I might surprise you within the next, say, week. I think I'm going to likely be surprising you. So if I keep your phone ready, not by the ready, and we might just be able to have lunch or something like that. So hint hint, I'm going to be in the area. So Joey Simpson, Mitch, you say something about asses. Yes. So Mitch, old guy Mitch, what is she at, like 22 now, and Izzy is like 18, so like 3 or so away, right? So Nikki says you are doing good with your views. You're doing great with your reviews. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing that I think I have noticed, and this is something that's on me, and my daughter has told me about this as well, whereby I think they call it retention. So let's say you have a video that's 10 minutes long and you want to retain people for a certain period of time. I think that I need to figure out the types of things that I'm saying, doing, the concepts, the subject matter, all that stuff where people stay and listen. But I do recognize, and this is something that I didn't really pay attention to until just recently. Like I might do a live, like I put this live up right here, and I post it, and I never went back or go back and kind of tighten it up. So there might be spaces where there's long periods of time. My daughter said, Dad, like if you have a live, there's nothing wrong with just going back and like kind of taking out all the fluff, so to speak. So I did that with the last one. I think it went well. I kind of figured out what I need to do. So I'm going to be doing that. So you might see this show, this live, or any of my other lives, like in its raw version. And then I'll go back and tighten it up. I don't know if I'll change the title or anything like that, but got to figure it out. So, and if you guys have any suggestions on how I should go about doing that, then let me know. So I'm open for constructive criticism, and even criticism that's not even fair, i.e. from I think I'm going to have a place in my future releases, whether it be live or videos, where I might put something. I saw somebody write non-tent. What's up, Joko? Good to see you. But I'm going to call it Todd tent, because, for example, he put out a comment on a video that I put out, and I was actually just messing around. I was kind of surprised that it actually was out there. I'm fine that it was. And then he said what he said, and then I actually was going back on the backside of things and looking at, I had put some words, restricted some words, and he put those words in there, and so I unrestricted it because I didn't want him to think that I was restricting his speech. And so I did a video on his comment. Where you have the little bubble? Let me see if I can find it. Where you have like the person leaves a comment and then you do a video on their comment. That's what I did. But he mentioned something about how he was not surprised that I used Will Smith as my spirit animal because he's a cuck and his wife was this and this and that and blah 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 blah. I've only heard very briefly anything about his son. I know nothing about his son, so I'm not even gonna say anything. But you use these things that are supposed to be an insult, but yet you have the same thing going on in your family. You would think you would have more love for that lifestyle. I don't know. It's beyond me. So anyway. What's up, Foshin? Good to see you. Now, all of you are here. Thanks for coming by. So, it shouldn't be too long of a show. Maybe it'll be my normal hour, but there is something that has come up that I have been made aware of. And I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the young lady's name is Jessie Peterson. Jessie Marie Peterson, I believe, to be specific. I am not really a big Reddit fan. I haven't quite figured it out, but occasionally I hear and see things within Reddit that kind of interest me, and I'm actually trying to figure out how it goes, because sometimes I think that I see that people are talking about these things far before it becomes popular out in YouTube, for example. So that's kind of like why I kind of drifted to there. But I just briefly saw this thing, and actually I was on Auditing While Black's AWB's live last night. It was good to see him. I'm glad he's doing well, doing better. And he was kind of talking about a tragedy that happened in his life and the experience that he went through dealing with the coroner's office. So I mean, he mentioned it last night, so I don't think there's any problem with me talking about it, but he had and a tragedy happened in his family. I think it might have been his sister or something like that. But he had to have an interaction with the coroner, and he was talking about basically the gist of what he was talking about was how he can't believe how public officials act, particularly when we have cameras on. Now, and we've all been talking of late, Cliff has been talking about it on the Vigilance Committee along with Nikki, how our approach to the craft of holding our government accountable, there are different styles, etc. But at the end of the day, the official, that is the government worker, the government servant, should be cognizant of the fact that they are serving us and we have the right to be able to hold them accountable, including with camera. And that we have these people who kind of show themselves when we have a camera. You would think that they would have their best side when actually they show their worst side, right? So, and along the lines of this, of AWB talking about this, I come across this story. The general gist of the story, and I'll play a little snippet of what I found, is this young lady went to Mercy San Juan Medical Center, I think in Sacramento County. She was being seen, and then sometime thereafter, she was told, or her family was told, that she left an AMA, against medical advice. And so, with that, just the slight setup, I will kind of give you the video. So, is anybody aware of this? What I'm talking about? I think you might be. Okay, so I'm just going to play a little snippet, put it on. Let me make sure I got it here. Oh, let me do this. Present, share screen, entire screen. All right. Do you guys want to see it bigger, or are you okay with that? Let's see. Before I show, let me see. Integrity News Now. Good to see you. Does anybody know if there's any way for me to tell whether or not I have seen a name or not previously, other than like just maybe remembering it? Like, you know, I do have some of the usual people that I've known, obviously Old Guy Mitch, you know, Foshin, Nikki, etc. But then every now and then a name comes up and I'm like, do I know that person or not? At any rate, welcome. Thanks for showing up. And if you have a channel and you'd like for it to be known, then let us know, and then we'll put it up, or mods will be on that. Let's see. We had to pay for an independent autopsy because our coroner was so incompetent and condescending. I say that's terrible. And, you know, so I am at the age now where, I mean, we may have to be concerned about those types of things. You know, parents, even, you know, grandparents. All of my grandparents are now gone. My wife cared for her mother for 8 years prior to her passing, and her story basically was similar to this. She greeted her mom. Her mom was in the room. She watched television, etc. She went out, you know, and then checked up on her, and she had passed. So, and of course, during that time, when the cops were called and everybody came in, I think they always suspect the people closest to that individual, the deceased. And the same thing happened, you know, ask questions, what happened, etc., and take a look. And it turns out, obviously, she had passed from natural causes. But it seems like they need to do better. So, especially when things like this happen, and then we decide what is it that we want to find out, how this can happen, and what records are available, what records are not available. You know, if just a random person who has the propensity to investigate these things were just to, you know, get a hold of the story, and then they start digging, is the information only available to family members? You know, what information is public? So, as I said, this story kind of intrigued me, so I'm going to play something.
Now to some shocking allegations against a Sacramento County hospital accused of misplacing a woman's body.
Her mother says she had no idea she had died for more than a year. So your reporter covering Sacramento County, Madison Keevy, talked with that mother who's now taking legal action. Wow, what a case, Madison.
It is. And we start with Jessie Peterson. This is her, and this is a copy of her death certificate. It's at the center of her family's questions. Why is the last time she was seen alive dated a full year before her family knew she was dead?
Okay.
She was just a fun-loving.
So anybody listening to this who has seen her, you know, even just on the surface heard the story, if you hear dead, family not knowing, and year, I mean, that from the very beginning shocks me. I mean, I can't even fathom that occurring, for one. but a year after the fact, I mean, and not only a year, but told that she had clock checked out against medical advice. I mean, those are just what causes officials or workers to get to the point where they decide that they're going to make a lie like that. Now, I'm going to go through this, but I'm reminded of a story. So, something that happened when I was in the Air Force. So I'll talk about that as well.
Person that would give you the shirt off her back.
Jesse Peterson, in the words of her mother, Ginger, the last time they spoke was April of last year. Peterson had just been admitted to Mercy San Juan Medical Center due to a diabetic episode.
I gave the hospital a phone call and wanted to be transferred to Jesse's room. And they said they didn't have anybody there by that name.
Peterson's family was told she was discharged against medical advice. It was the start of a year of questions.
We didn't lose hope at that point in time. We thought, maybe she's just gone silent for a little while, and she would resurface again.
Her name and photo plastered around Sacramento. She was officially reported missing.
I just programmed myself to be looking constantly.
A phone call from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office gave Peterson's family their first answer in a year.
So, I mean, again, I'm just thinking about the ground level of what is happening here. Clearly the person was there. Who knows what happens? And by the way, a year passing, I mean, all of the information that could be garnered from from the deceased body is likely gone. I mean, where does the attorney for the family start as far as a number that they're going to, seek as far as damages go? And I've heard this before. People say, we settled out of court, et cetera, et cetera. We got this sum of money. And I'm sure in every instance, the family would much rather have their loved one. So I'm not saying that, I'm not, advocating for, this huge number or a smaller number. I'm just saying, surely somebody has to be held accountable, and usually they're held accountable by how it affects their pocket. So, yeah, it's just crazy. Let's see. I don't know where I was with regards to statements. Sorry. And I saw somebody saying they were looking for a website, and they couldn't get to. I don't know what website you were talking about, but if I can help you find it, let me know. So, yeah, interesting. So, we only have like a few more minutes of this, so I think we can get
It wasn't even 24 hours after she died that they shipped her off to some storage facility in a freezer up on a shelf.
The family's lawsuit alleges Peterson's body was transferred to the hospital's off-site cold storage facility. A copy of her death certificate shows two dates. One in April 2023, when Peterson died in the hospital of cardiopulmonary arrest. The second date in April of 2024. That's when her death was reported to the coroner.
I don't think that it's right that any family have to go through something like this.
Well, so now, it's just going through the process of trying to figure out how this could have occurred. Now, I'm sure there's likely, well, and they're about to probably go over it, the response to lawsuit, but the hospital is surely going to have, a plethora of reasons why or how this could have occurred, but that doesn't make it right. I mean, there is seemingly no reason why. There has to be processes in place that if somebody dies and there's nobody that can be reached, there's got to be a process, make an announcement in the paper. There's so many things. Surely there should be no circumstances whereby a year passes and the family does not know. That just seems ridiculous. Aside from a specific John Doe or Jane Doe passing and not knowing that there was a family that should be notified. But in this case, I don't think this was the case here.
Statement to CBS 13, a Dignity Health spokesperson says, "We extend our deepest sympathies to the family during this difficult time.
We miss her dearly. It's like a piece of us are missing, and it just can't be replaced."
The family is asking for $5 million in that lawsuit for emotional distress as well as neglect by the hospital. This was just filed this month, so a lot to cover.
Wow.
So now this is kind of how I look at it. How is it that we as people who likely do not want this to occur again go about possibly instituting any type of change, not only for this particular county, but as it relates to our own county? So, for example, now, I mean, probably already, which is happening, this county, San Juan, Mercy San Juan, Sacramento County Coroner's Office has likely had number of people making inquiries. Okay, and that's understandable. They may have even had people calling and saying, how could this happen, outrage and whatever, and express their, trying to accomplish redress of their government. That's understandable as well. But where do you go from there? Now, I think it might be interesting if you went to your own county's coroner's office and said, what is the policy, or is there a policy that exists that if these set of things occur, then the family is notified so that this doesn't happen again? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we go about making sure that we find out that this doesn't happen routinely in any other county or area in your own community? I mean, was there something so extenuating that that made this occur? I mean, this has only been happening. This report came out, this video came out 6 days ago. I don't know exactly. We're talking April. Who knows how long ago this was actually discovered? But and they've been working on it for a while, and I'm just getting a hold of it. But I'm telling you this, I'm kind of interested in the county that I live in, if there's any instances of something even remotely happening like this. And two, what is the policy that are in place? And how do we go about finding what that policy is? Maybe we might do a records request and find out, tell us what the policies are, and describe a situation as like this and submit it. And then they would give us the policy and say, okay, that's good. Now, if we went to that particular place with our cameras, surely they might be kind of, what do you call it, alarmed at the cameras. But shouldn't we be able to make that type of request and find out if there's anything away in place that would allow this not to ever occur again? I think that's reasonable. I think that's how we go about doing it. Let's call them live. Oh my gosh. I don't even know how I would go about accomplishing that. What would we say, Foshin? That's kind of interesting that you say that. Let's call them live. Nobody in the hospital, let's see, I'll go back just a little bit. Nobody in the hospital knows what anybody is doing anywhere. But Foshin says, let's call them live. Warn you're calling from a recorded line. I see. That's something that I've never actually done. And not to mention that there are apparently cases that are coming about where people are getting in trouble, or at least involved in cases because one, they're not warning people that they're recording, right? So now I'm not saying that I'm not willing to do that, but for example, I'm not even necessarily aware of the laws that pertain to my state. I think we are a one-party state. North Carolina is, but California, for example, I may have heard it before. Let's see if we can find a number. What would I do? What would you do if I sang out of tune? How do I get? I don't know why my thing is not. Oh, I think Cliff is saying something. Someone knows. No. Ask what their policies are in cases like this. All right. So, I mean, that's a reasonable. Let's see if we can do it. Okay. So we go to Mercy San Juan Medical Center. Here's the number here. Let me grab this. All right. A first. This is the number. And what I was going to do was pull up. Let me do this. Bear with me. I'm just seeing if I can get something real quick. What's it called? Is it called Voice? So just bear with me. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to make this call and like do it so that you guys can hear, etc. But so that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. So I actually do like the idea of doing this. So Foshin, thank you for the suggestion. Although I just think that logistically I'm not set up to do it in a way that one can be captured, sound good or whatever. And I want to just make sure that I'm aware of what I should do as I'm doing it. I think that's fair. So, but you made a point. I mean, I think what you're saying basically is that you might agree with me that, let me see, but I think that no government official has any expectation of privacy when talking on the phone with a member of the public, and I would happily challenge our wiretapping statute here in Florida. So that's an interesting way of putting it. So are you thinking then, I mean, are you suggesting that if we call a government official, despite whatever the laws are, the wiretapping laws are, that we should be able to hold them accountable at any time? Now, I feel like that may not necessarily be the case, that they would fall under, wiretap laws all the time. I don't know what's the case that was in Illinois, maybe, because it was all about setting up filming cops surreptitiously without them knowing at all, and it went to or at least to Supreme Court, I think, and not the state Supreme Court. I'm not sure I know about that, but I want to say it's something that people say all the time, like I feel like it's Illinois, but I don't know. Finkel's here. Oh, I didn't even see you come in. Hey, Finkel. I'm the only state. Yeah. West Virginia. You are in a state of confusion. Sure, he is. You must let them know you're recording in California, Nikki said. Okay, yeah. So, all right. So if I was going, and this might be something that I might be able to do, because I think if I'm going to do anything while I'm gone for the few days I will be gone, One, I won't have my forward camera facing, so to just be like my avatar, which by the way is getting worked on. So I might have a surprise in that regard. But I think that what I can do is make it so that I can have the recording and the call be heard, not necessarily visualized. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I think that I deserve, or at least the process probably deserves, having some more thought put into it than just randomly calling on a live. So, but I do appreciate the notion of Ocean, because if we are going to do that, so let's start with what I suggested in the very beginning. In this case, and in the case of maybe even in your own community, we would like to know whether or not there are policies in place that would prevent this and what they are, right? I mean, you could just simply ask, like we would be doing. Maybe they might say, yeah, we can get that information out to you. It's 90 pages long, et cetera, et cetera. So that would take a public records request, and we go through the process and do that. But it's these type of things. And Foshin, you and I talked about the experience that we've had with the Social Security Administration, whereby they give you the runaround. And I think what's happening more often than not lately is that we try to get information from our officials, different government entities, and they put us through this loop. I think it's Steve, I Am Free, who talks about this circular thing that they do to keep you from getting information. They either give you a phone number, you call it, they never answer, or an email, you email and they never respond. And then what you have to do is public records request the filters that they have in place to find out what they're doing to keep your inquiries from being seen. Why? I mean, what is so secretive about government agencies that they have to do that? Well, something like this would probably warrant them, the public not being privy to the fact that this is occurring or could occur. I mean, I just think it's fascinating that what has to occur is for them to actively keep this information from us. I mean, that's to me what's happening. The runaround is part of the process. I agree. It is part of the process because when you think about it, I mean, for the situation with my mother, why I even started having the interest in recording in the SSA or even documenting, putting a public records request in there at all. When I submitted the information that I wanted, first of all, I might have been upset that this person, even though I perceived the CFR to say that I could record in certain areas, and they were insistent that I couldn't record, I would think I might have been upset with how he went about doing it. I showed him what the CFR said, and I could see on his face that he may have agreed. And then he doubled down on the fact that, well, this is our policy and we're just not going to let you record. So then I said, well, I'm going to submit a public records request, a FOIA request. And I didn't hear anything for what I consider to be a reasonable amount of time. And then I reached out to, and I submitted again, like kind of like an appeal. And I got this process from auditing Erie County, right? Where he submitted a FOIA request, they ignored it, and then he did an appeal for the request of the information that he had previously asked for, and then basically went to litigation over it. So I kind of got that process from him. Well, I still didn't hear anything. So then I decided that I was going to contact the regional directors and find out what their stance on not recording in the Social Security Administration's office. And I found that they were very standardized in their reply, meaning that of like the 5 or 6 people that I sent about the same letter to, they gave me the same reply that basically said, you cannot do it, and these are the reasons. So they had experienced letters like that before, but they had this stock reply, So long story short, the process takes long enough where eventually you just drop it, right? Eventually you just drop it. So, I mean, I do think Foshin, it would be interesting to give them a call myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I have been practicing. Making calls to different entities, because right now, many of you guys know my interest is in making it so that body worn camera footage in North Carolina is considered public. Right now, as it stands, it's not considered public record. There's a process that you have to go through in order to get it. And the way that I've decided that I was going to start is I was going to go to, there's 100 counties in North Carolina. And I know that the sheriff's departments, most of them have body worn camera footage. They've participated in some program that gives them the money to be able to get them in their agency. And so for most parts, most counties do have body worn camera footage, but they all know that it's not considered public record. And there is a process that you have to go through. It has to be ordered by a judge in order to get it to happen. Unless you are, even if you're family members and there's a death involved, you go through the process and they will allow you to view it. But there's not very many instances where they release it and then you have access to it. Now, when they do, that's where in North Carolina, if you see body worn camera footage, some extenuating circumstances or a judge has ordered that they will release it and then it's available to the public. So I'm trying to work that process, and I started with the counties surrounding me. I think there's 4 of them basically that are adjacent to where I live. I've already gone and started the process on some level with Pitt County, which is not too far from me. I had a very good experience with dealing with a sheriff, particularly in the courthouse. And then I began the process of trying to figure out how to go about obtaining body worn camera footage. So I thought that I would start with complaints. Like if there was a complaint that was submitted and there happened to be body worn camera footage that was attached to that complaint and it was reviewed, then I would start with that as an instance and then see, if we can get it, released or looked at or viewed or whatever that process that I would do. But the problem that I had is that I would call an entity, I could be in contact with somebody and they'd say, we are not the people that you need to talk to. You need to talk to this number. And then I would try to talk to that person and they would say, it's this person or it's our attorney or something. Again, a runaround, right? So now really what I think my initial step is going to be as far as public records and the sheriff's departments and the counties in North Carolina is to find out who is the record holder for each sheriff department. I don't know if I'm saying that the correct way, but apparently there's one person or maybe 2 people that are involved in this process. And all of them say that you start with that, but you can't find that name. So I would like either one person or a couple of people to say, I submit it to them. I say, hey, I would like hold on. Sorry. All right. Am I back? I think I'm back. I'm frozen. How does that song go? It wasn't one of the popular ones. My daughter was too old, I think, after that. Maybe my youngest daughter. Anyway, all right, so we're back. And I think I have that. So I rambled around about that, but let's see. Craig, you should record every phone call with the government of North Carolina. So Craig should record every phone call with the government of North Carolina. Never mind. Let's go back a little bit. Dropping it is their hope. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all saying that. Why do I have the forever screen going on? What did I do? I don't know why I did that. How's that? So yeah, that's where I'm going to start. I mean, where I live, I live out in the country, right? So the two nearest towns that are here, I mean, there is some activity for sure in one of the towns. It's called Rocky Mount, and the other one's Greenville. But the problem is that, well, one, I don't have probably not the resources, and when I say resources, I mean whatever tool it is that would have you be privy to things that are going on as far as cops go. So like cop watching, right? Now, whenever something does happen, I mean, first of all, the police department that's in this town that I live in is right around the corner. So if you hear anything, we're talking like a stone's throw away for sure. So when I hear something, I might grab my camera and go out and start recording. So any of the times that you've seen at nighttime or daytime, it's because they're very near me, and I just pick up my camera and I start filming. So I've witnessed kind of two DUI type scenarios. There was a shooting around the corner from me, and actually that's the one where I went and talked to the chief. And the problem is that we're such a small town that it's attached to the sheriff's department. And so like the dispatch call, all those things are attached to the sheriff's department. And, you know, when I said, can I get the call? He's like, well, it's going to be to the dispatch, and not quite a runaround, but he basically was saying, I don't have that information. You have to start here. So when it comes down to cop watching, so to speak, it's not something that's readily available for me to do. But certainly dealing with records that go on with the county sheriff's department is something that I can do. So that's where I'm starting. You are sharing that tab. Oh, okay. I see. So let's see. I can stop the screen share. I'm so late. I'm behind looking at my the comments. Sorry. What does that say? Factception. What's that mean? Is that, how did you get the trademark there, Guadalupe? Now I don't know if I talked to you directly, but I've seen you before, so good to see you. Factception. What does that mean? Tell me what that means. Is that good or is it bad? All right. All right. Well, we are like 10 minutes away from the hour mark. I'm going to say to you all, if you haven't already, drop a like. Thank you. And if you know somebody who might be interested in this type of content, which is getting better, then share it. We like that. I was looking at something too. This is something that I'm not upset about it. It's the nature of the beast. The nature of the beast is that I do have some files, because what I was thinking, I was going to be gone for a few days. And I was like, well, I have some stuff that I haven't even edited or whatever, and I'll just throw that on and schedule it out. But the problem is that it has me and another choice individual doing some things that is talking. And so I was like, I don't want to do that. But the thing is, this is the thing. What's up, AWB? How you doing? Oh, so I'm going to AWB in there. AWB in there. So James. So I have a couple of things going on later on today, and I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I'm going to reach out to you via email, and I'll either break down how you go about do it if you haven't already figured it out. Excuse me. But it's really simple. In fact, I probably could show you right now. That's what I'm going to do. So if you have a second, I'll try to show you. I think. Maybe not. Let's see. Share screen. All right, I'm gonna try to show you AWB. All right, this is for AWB real quickly. I have time. Okay, so when you do a live stream here, when you click on this button, it will tell you that you're going to do it to YouTube or to wherever else. So let's say we add one, and then you have, was it TikTok? Oh, so but it has a custom thing. Now I've never tried it, so I'm thinking that you could use this custom one in order to go to TikTok. I'm not certain. I'm just saying. I don't know what RTMP stands for. It didn't dawn on me that TikTok wasn't in this list of things. So you may already know that you could do this, and so maybe that's what you were saying last night. But I think this is the one you would try to see if you can do for TikTok. Does that make sense, or does anybody have a different way? I think what he was telling me, and what I've done in the past, this is what I did before. I mean, I don't have very much of a TikTok following at all. So, I mean, I have like, I don't know, I want to say 3,000 people, but I don't ever go live on TikTok. But before I was ever had things going on with YouTube at all, I tried to have my phone set up for TikTok facing me. I did it again. And then I would be on YouTube, but at that time I was using OBS Studio. So, but I'm using StreamYard now. So I don't know if that answers your question, but and now that I did it, I'm not sure that I didn't realize that TikTok wasn't on there, but it's got to be some way that you do it. So we can sit and work through it. Good to see everyone. Yes, thank you for coming, AWB. I started off talking about how you kind of inspired me to think about the story that we talked about today, which is the Jesse Peterson story, because you were sharing about your interaction with the coroner's office. Not only that you had to go through the process that you went through, but how they treated you, so to speak, when you got there. And I think if I remember correctly, you told me since the beginning of you and I knowing each other that you were inclined to photograph or film, you document your interaction with government on many levels. So why did you stop OBS? So it kind of inspired me to look into this story, and I'm talking. It must have been divine intervention, because you were talking about what you were talking about, and then I saw this story, and it just kind of clicked. I'm like, one, how does this happen? And two, why wouldn't you, for nearly anything that you do business-wise with the government, why wouldn't you want to document? One, and then two, why isn't it that government officials, workers, why aren't they aware that we have a desire to have the most accurate recording possible, and that may involve us recording, and we have the right to do so? Yeah, I mean, let's see. Oh, okay, so it looks like let me go back to, first of all, let me go back to where I'm going to answer Potion's question. Why did I stop OBS? So I stopped OBS because I was having problems memory wise when I was trying to. I think it might have been involving screen records. Like maybe I'd do a video, but I wanted to comment on top of that video. So it was using a lot of memory in order to capture the video and have me edit myself on top of the video, maybe commenting on top of it. That was, I think that was probably the first step. But before I had StreamYard or dealt with StreamYard on any level, that's what I used. And I used OBS Studio for quite a long time. And I still might have occasion to use it sometimes. It depends on where I'm at. So like, for example, when I go away, I think I may not be, I mean, I might still be able to use StreamYard. I haven't used StreamYard remotely. I've only used StreamYard. I mean, when I say remotely, I've used it before on my phone. I've used it in my house here at this desk where I'm at. And you guys can see the background where it says, where you have FAQ and that neon light and all that stuff. I don't chase, I attract. That what belongs to me will simply find me. That is my studio upstairs. Usually for me recording, when I want to record a screen with me on top and you see the screen, but I do it clearly without the fuzziness that you see around me, I do it upstairs because I have a green screen that I can drop down and do that. So that's the editing thing that I do post-production, right? So I think I have the use, I can still use OBS Studio, but StreamYard is a very good solution for me, and it's not that expensive. I really do like it. They're not a sponsor yet. But anyway, so I didn't even click like, thumbs up for my own video yet. All right. I think it looks like, so I'm going to put this up in order so that you can see it, AWB. And then maybe you can go back and watch this part and have the steps to do it. 11 like from India. What does that mean? It's so funny. I'm reminded of people talking about how when you're, well, I think it's specifically when you're trying to maybe engage with another person. Like when Todd and I used to talk with each other, I found myself not paying attention to the chat at all. And then when I have the show here, sometimes I do find myself focused on it, and it takes me away from what I'm talking about. So I'm still kind of trying to figure those things out. All of you guys know that. So anyway, yeah. And I think probably the first time I ever dealt with StreamYard, to be honest, was with AWB. When AWB had me on his show live, we talked about 2 of my videos, and we did it through StreamYard. And in fact, he sent me the whole entire clip of us. I put it on my channel as well. I think it might have been one of the few pieces of long piece content that I had originally. And then I remember asking Todd when we had the show together to do the same thing, and he couldn't figure it out. So I don't know. It's a learning process. I'm still learning. Yeah. What was it that we talked about the other day? The last time that you had something that I think it was banner. So you and I talked about doing the banner. Yeah, there's so many different things. And when I first got it, we wanted to stream the wedding. And so I got the full version, and I had it for like 28 days or whatever. And there are some cool things that you can do with StreamYard. So yeah. I didn't put the link up. Last time I said that I was going to put the link up so that Todd would be able to respond if he wanted to. But you know what? I'm so over Todd Tent now. I'm saying Todd Tent instead of like content Todd Tent. I'm over it. I tried to kiss and make up with his ass. It didn't work. I tried to explain what I need to. There's a couple of channels now, that have kind of gone over, FAQ didn't get on them enough about it. All I really wanted to do was just put out there that this is what occurred, and this is my response to you saying that we're this. And now Mitch, me, and Joe Cool, we're in this the brown people, black supremacist group now that he's said that. Put us in that category. Whatever, dude. More power to you. I don't need to have you be in that space or occupy that space of time that I designate to those out there who are becoming my friends on some level of community of supporters. So there's other things that we can talk about. Mainly, how do we keep our loved ones from being dead for a year and they try to hide it? It's just ridiculous. All right. So before I go, let me catch up with anybody in the chat, anything that was said in the chat. I showed this previously, but I don't know what Cliff meant by that. So you can clarify. We don't know why you did it either. See, now I'm lost. I don't know what he's talking about there. Okay, because you're showing that tab. Okay, I got that. We were talking about when I had the Twilight Zone screen, and I did it twice. I don't even know what I did wrong. Normally, I'm capable of putting the second screen up there and not have that going on. So I'll figure it out though. Yo, that's AWB. Thank you for showing up. People saying hi to him. What up, AWB? A couple of he told me I had time. I hope that we got it so that he'll be able to do it. I think Nikki hooked this up. So thank you, Nikki. You're awesome. Good to see everyone. Yep. Boshin says, why'd you stop OBS? I explained that. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Okay, now he knows. Good. See, we helping each other. I like that. We helping each other. Right. So she did that. I put it up twice now. So you can go back and watch this video twice now. And that'll be 2 views for me. So thank you. Levin Light from India. Oh, okay. Namaste. Thank you very much. I am a new subscriber. Awesome. Thanks for joining. We'd love to have you. My mods are welcome. Thank you very much. Good job, Nikki. My channel support, sir. Oh, okay. All right. Do you guys know what Fiverr is? Again, not a sponsor, but I've used Fiverr for a number of different things, and a lot of times it might be people from India, Pakistan, and where else? I think I've had somebody from Nepal as well. And I think the person that was from Nepal, maybe the reason why I went with that person, because one of the smartest people that I went to school with when I was in Japan, his name was Anil, A-N-I-L, and he was from Nepal. And that cat was smart as all get up. He really was. But I bring it up because they say dear and they say sir all the time. It's kind of funny. I was going to tell you guys one story before I go. So when I was in the Air Force, I worked in the lab, clinical lab, and I went through the drawing room, drawing blood, and then I also was a night tech. And I was a night tech. I worked 3 days on and 3 days off. So got to work in the ER a lot, have dealings with the ER. I went to school during the daytime and I was able to study. Basically, I came in at 3 o'clock, and then I worked until about 1, maybe 2 o'clock, and then I was on call till 7:30 ish. I did that for 3 days on and 3 days off. Then we had somebody who worked in our shipping department. It was a small department. It consisted of urinalysis and shipping as well. They were responsible for taking the samples that came from our community of patients, and then testing that we had to send out to other places, Fort Sam Houston, ARUP, which is in Utah, different esoteric testing labs like that. Well, this particular, it was a very, very large task. I mean, we had lots of samples that had to be at, any biopsies, all those kind of things had to be sent out for somebody to read. Well, one of the people who were running that section was overwhelmed with the work and decided that, and for about a month's period of time, that he would take the samples and hide them in a basement, a little crawl space area that we had. And we were moving things from the lab throughout the lab. And I can imagine what was going through his mind when he figured out that they were going into the area that he had hid things, or maybe it had been so long that he forgot. Anyway, they discovered, I'm going to say conservatively, like 100 biopsy type samples. They'd be in a little cup with some formalin, maybe a skin tag that they would send off. He had hid them there, and for some reason, because things get lost in the mail and those kind of things, but they found all these samples and they kicked them out of the military. So I actually have firsthand knowledge of something happening where an entity or someone in that entity did something that hides a mistake or hides some negligent act, and then the consequence of that. Now, they went through and as much as they could to figure out that nobody was harmed, like, there was no cancer that was missed or anything like that. But the bottom line is that I'm aware that it does happen that somebody can do something like that and nobody know for a period of time. In this case, a year. So as much as we possibly can, I think we should try to figure out how we can make it so that they avoid that. Let's see. Do you remember what percent it started degrading? Sorry, Potion, I don't know what you're talking about. All right, Nikki. Streamyard is good. Oh, that's way back, way back. All right, where are we at? Based Oracle in the house. What's up? How you doing? Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. So that is it. Back. Have a great day. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for between today and, let's see, 3 days away from today will be. I think there's probably going to be a couple of shows that will be pre-recorded, and it might be some. I haven't quite figured out exactly what it's going to be. But like I said, I'm going to reach out to you, Cliff, and see if maybe we can do something while I'm there. My wife has all of the dates actually, but it's coming up, so I just want to make sure that that I do that and connect with you if we were able to. So keep that in the loop. Thank you guys, of course, for making it to the number of views that we have. The next milestone, I think, really is going to be 500 subs. We're at 444 now. What a great number to have. Although sometimes it drops down. I think I have a certain number and somebody will unsubscribe. Or maybe it happens automatically, right? Because Nikki, I think it was Nikki that told me that she thought that she was subscribed, but then it had been that you had been unsubscribed, right? So I don't know how that happens. And, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. But then you might have some of the people who are just waiting for you to get to that milestone. And then, bam, you think that you're at 500 and you're at 499. So we'll get there eventually. But I'm really trying to work on making sure that I make the content in a way so that you guys, obviously want to stick and listen to it. But watch time hours is something I got to work on. So we're like, I don't know, 2,100 and I got to get to 3,000. So we are inching towards that goal. Maybe we can get there before the end of the year. So now you guys know what my goals are. All right. Well, thank you very much for showing up. And I've said this before, and I usually kind of end with something like this. And this wasn't one of those type of shows that lends you to think about this way, but whether you are on the right side or the left side, politically minded, ideally, all those kind of things, as far as I'm concerned, I want you to be able to meet me somewhere here in the middle. Right? Those of you guys who are getting to know me, recognize me as a person who I'm not really extreme one way or the other. And I do try to find what I would consider to be a common ground. Those are the things I talk about. Those are the things that I try to incorporate in my actions. When you see me out in the field, when I show those things, I'm going to be the person that's more likely than not going to be pleasant as it relates to an interaction. Now, there's a time and place for everything. So maybe you might see me get a little uppity. But as far as a need, as far as trying to figure out things and get information and study and learn something, you need other people to help you do that. And I think you catch more honey or more bees with honey versus vinegar. So that's the approach I take. So appreciate you guys being here. Oh, Finkel has this competition going on, and I've pledged my support to Izzy. So as Mitch, I believe. And she fell down. We fell down a little bit, so I couldn't vote for myself, so I had to pick somebody. And I think probably if you look in the future when I come back, Mitch, so old guy Mitch and Izzy and myself are probably going to do a panel together. So look for that. That'll be in the works. We'll see how that goes. So thanks for showing up, you guys. I really appreciate your support. And until the next time, nothing but love here. Peace.